Failure is an unfortunate necessity for achieving success. You will never meet anyone who has reached the top of their chosen field who has never experienced failure. You just won't do it. You'll never run into someone who has won a lot of things that hasn't failed at some point and learn more from that. You don't go up to someone after the big game and they say, well, I learned so much from this win. It's always, well, I learned a lot from losing, or I learned a lot from that struggle. And for me personally, whenever I experience that unfortunate thing, I have to look back on what I've done to prepare for it. You're going to have goals that maybe you won't reach, and you will work very hard for them, and you may not get there. The important thing is being able to look back and saying, I gave it everything I had, and I have no regrets because I couldn't have worked any harder. And there may be a point where you say, well, I made a few mistakes. An example would be the last meet I did where I overcut by 4 pounds and wasn't able to get my body weight back. I look back at that and say, well, I definitely made a couple of mistakes. But I do not regret the work that I put in because I know it was everything I had. And that's exactly how I'm approaching this training cycle as well. These squat workouts are brutal. They are not. You are never recovered in between them effectively. You are always sore in some way. Your form is constantly fighting to break down, and I've tried to figure out which is my least favorite day because of the rep ranges, and they're just all equally terrible. You think the 10 sets of 3 is awful because, well, it's just so heavy and you have so many sets, you have to keep getting under the bar. But this is only 4 sets. Well, it's 4 sets of 9, and so after your first set, it feels like you've been working out all day and you just want to stop. But if you approach it with the mindset of, I want to be able to look back and say I did everything I could, then it becomes bearable. No matter how much pain, no matter how much physical discomfort you're in from this, if you look to the future and say, I'm going to look back on this and appreciate putting in as much work as I have done, because I will either be able to reach my goals or I'll be able to look back and have no regrets about it. That is the mindset you need to have when you're pursuing greatness, when you're pursuing some sort of high-level goal. And so that's just where I'm at right now with my mind. These sets were pretty rough. I'm definitely missing my belt, especially around rep 3 and 4 of each set, because the weight itself doesn't feel that bad. It's only 435, but it wants to bend you over, and when you start getting the lactic acid buildup and your back pump starts to kick in, especially in the later sets, it just makes your form starts to break down a little bit more. It makes the reps even harder, it makes depth harder to hit, and it just compounds from something that's already tough to something that gets harder and harder as you go, and you just have to accept it. I actually had an added little unfortunate circumstance here, in that as my sets went on, my upper back was getting a little more fatigued. I wasn't able to lock the bar in quite as tight, and so it has a tendency to roll down on me a little bit. It's one of the first things to go when my technique starts to break down, as the bar rolls. And combine that with some of the abrasions that I've been getting on my back from just the sheer frequency of squatting, and I opened a couple of them up on my upper back, and so I actually started bleeding through my shirt, and I had these open wounds. So that happened on the second set, so every single rep afterwards was rolling right into that now pretty exposed area, and it hurt pretty bad. I think you might be able to see it in my face that I'm in a bit of pain here, but I guarantee you I'm going to look back in 13 weeks at this meet and say, you know what, I bled for this goal. Doesn't matter how things go, I gave it everything I had. And I'm not saying that you have to squat until your back bleeds. That's a ridiculous thing to pursue, but if you ever want to cope with the possibility of not reaching a goal, you better give it everything you had, or else you're going to have a lot harder time just accepting your circumstances. So that was my 4 sets of 9 there, 435 without a belt. The squatting definitely affected my bench a little bit. I was having some lower body cramps in my hip flexors, my hamstrings during these presses, but they still felt alright. And 325 was moving okay for my 5 doubles. Was still able to long pause, or like I like to call it, the CT pause on my final rep of the entire set. I think there was only one rep here that I'm just kind of confused about. I think it is in my 4th set on this first rep. I just kind of touch and go'd it with really no reason behind it. I don't know why. I just forgot to pause it, I guess. But overall, the workout got the work that I needed to in, and when you get to the latter half of a Smolov training cycle, you just have to survive. You do everything you can, you fight off the form breakdown as much as you can, especially if you're not using a belt for the base mesocycle like I'm doing, but you give it everything you have, and if you make it to the end, you know you got better and you know you got stronger. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like rating or favorite it. Share it with your friends who you think it might benefit in some way, and if you're not subscribed, please do that. I would like to officially thank Jason Blaha, who from Ice Cream Fitness, who made a video shout out for my channel and has effectively drastically increased my subscriber base in the last 24 hours. Thanks a lot, Jason. I appreciate it. To all of you who are new subscribers from that or from anything else, welcome to the grind. Very glad to have you here. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I really am big on trying to answer all the comments that I can, even with my busy schedule. And I'm just glad to have you all here, and the support has been awesome, and I am so incredibly thankful. So thanks a lot for that. And next session, Wednesday, more squats, more bench, more pain, but it will all be worth it in the end, no matter how it turns out. So thanks again, and I will talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.